Hi, I'm Michael Scepka, and for my remix project, I'm going to use a video to interview people to better understand the varying opinions on what individuality means. And in my paper, I initially used American opinions versus the opinions I had over when I lived in China and how they differentiated between the countries. So, based on like your past experiences and stuff, what would you consider your definition of individuality to be?
I believe individuality has to do with the person's personality and how they interact with people and their actions, past actions, whether good or bad, and even their name, because when you talk about a person, first thing that pops up is their name.
It's the first time I've heard their name. Yeah. What's the biggest way people can express their individuality, like how they are?
I believe through their actions.
Actions?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm here with Kamaya, and I'm going to ask her a few questions. What would you think your definition of being an individual would be?
So pretty much like self-care. Sorry. Believing that you can do it. So self-motivation. Being independent. Yeah.
That's really it? All right,
That's
yeah,
really
that's good. Hi, McKenna. Hi, Jesse.
Go to B-dubs?
Okay, well, we're not talking about B-dubs.
Okay.
You gotta answer this question for me.
Okay.
All right, so basically, I'm doing this remix project.
Oh, I have to do that too.
Okay, this is great, then yes.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, ready? What would you think your definition of being an individual is?
Shit. Wait. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, keep going.
I have to think.
No time for thinking,
No,
it's gotta be quick, come on.
No, repeat the
Jesse,
Repeat the question.
what is your definition of individuality?
Acting different than everybody else and like proving that you have like your own specific place in the world and that like you don't care what other people think of you and you just do what you like. Everything you do it for yourself, not for everybody else.
That's actually really thought out. I like that. Okay, now you.
Having personal characteristics that are special to you and not being like everyone else.
She actually didn't either think, because that was really good. One of the things I thought is really interesting is that individuality is so broad that I thought everyone would have kind of like a very similar opinion on what individuality is, because it's so broad that like everyone's going to know like one thing, or it's going to be all over the place. And it's kind of neat because it kind of is all over the place, but it also isn't.
So my definition of being an individual, I would say, is really knowing your values and what makes you you. So growing up, you see a lot of kids who are into specific brands, right? And they're into these brands because everybody else wears them. And if you're not wearing it, then you're getting clowned by the kid. Trust me, I know. I was that kid.
Okay.
But one thing I learned is that when you stop caring about that, you start wearing brands you want, you stop trying to impress people, that's when you start being happy. You start finding out what it is that you want to achieve and whatnot. And I think, that's individuality, figuring out who you really are.
Yeah, that's probably the best definition I've had so far, because you brought it into like your personal experiences and not just like spouting out random stuff you think is right. Like you use personal experiences, and that's great. Everyone comes from a different walk of life, and like that's what makes everybody unique. Is like individuality isn't one thing; it's like multiple things that someone acquires over the course of their life, and like. It's just really unique. It was a really good answer. I'm here with lifelong friend, Gino Pace. Gino, I would like to know, what is your definition of being an individual?
Having your own identity, making your own choices, having your own values. That makes you independent.
Short and sweet. The main point of this project was to compare American and Chinese ideals on individualism, and due to lack of good network and the inability to record good audio from a phone call, I've had to resort to my parents sending me a script of what the Chinese people they interviewed said, and it was actually quite intriguing, because they actually said similar things to what Americans said. So the first person that they asked, they said, Someone being unique, making yourself stand out, not conforming to society if it is not what you agree with. The third person said, understand that everyone is different, and it's okay if you realize you are different as well. Sometimes being like everyone else is easy, and sometimes being yourself is hard, and it shouldn't be that way. And the last one said, being an individual is just being yourself. Don't follow what others are doing, and think for yourself. I thought this whole entire project was actually really eye-opening, because you have two nations from across the world. You know, they go through completely different historical backgrounds, and somehow they come together and they have similar ideals of individualism. I don't know, I asked this before, but maybe individualism is so broad that we only have one interpretation that we can all comprehend.